Could we all please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's town board meeting. It is May 26, 2026. We have a couple special items to take care of this evening before we get into our meeting. We have two special ladies here, Melissa Socorro of Valhalla and Jacqueline Schneider of Greenberg serve as the service unit managers for the Valhalla service unit of the Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson. Just this month of May 26th, their unit was honored with the prestigious Blockbuster of Growth Certificate of Appreciation by the Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson Council's Community Engagement Team. This award recognizes Valhalla's service unit for achieving the highest membership retention and new recruitment members among all service units in the council, serving Girl Scouts in grades K through 12. Melissa and Jacqueline have poured countless volunteer hours into building a thriving program that empowers young women in our community. Their strategic outreach, dedication to welcoming new families, and commitment to keeping girls engaged year after year is a true reflection of the community spirit that makes Valhalla such a wonderful place to live. The town board proudly recognizes Melissa and Jacqueline for their exemplary service to the Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson and commends them for fostering a supportive environment where local young women can thrive. So we congratulate Melissa and Jacqueline. If you want to come up.
That's so sweet. Thank you guys. That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
This is better than the one Girl Scouts gave us.
Do you guys want me to take a picture of you quick?
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a camera you want to use? You can hand it to our attorney. He'll take it.
Oh, I knew you were a fancy man.
Counsel.
Oh, you get it? I'll do it too with the town.
Come on, don't be shy.
I just saw you the other day, I think, right? Thank you both.
Oh,
Sorry,
did you
we're
do this?
at the planning table, but
Yes.
Good.
Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Congratulations.
Aw, thank you, baby. Did you want a picture with her? Did you all want a picture?
Yeah,
I could take it.
Go with your daughter. I left mine at home. Here, you can have that.
Thank you. That's the way we'd like to start all of our meetings. Moving on, public hearing.
I'm not sure they want to stay. They can, but they don't.
That's right. If you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. It may not be as interesting as certificates, but
I don't have to put 3 kids to bed. Huh?
Only 3? If you could feel free at any time, though. Don't feel bad, because they do, go sometimes.
Do you want me to read the notice?
yes.
Notice of public hearing, Town of Mount Pleasant. Please take notice that a public hearing of the Town Board of the Town of Mount Pleasant will take place on Tuesday, May 26, 2026, at 7:00 p.m. at the Town Hall located at 1 Town Hall Plaza, Valhalla, New York, to consider an amendment to Town Ordinance Section 206-49 no parking trucks and tractor trailers. Article 3, parking. Article 3, parking, standing, and stopping to include Choate Lane. The proposed change is for Choate Lane on both sides from the hours of 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. and for the entire length of the street. At this meeting, all persons shall be heard.
Move for approval?
Second.
First,
To open the public hearing.
it's open, the public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to speak about it, they're welcome to do so at this time. We already have regulations on parking. What this does is include this section, because there's been instances where trucks and trailers have been parking on Choate Lane, restricting residential parking in that area. It's a fairly substandard road, so this helps to make sure that the residents in that area have additional parking where they need it. So this just adds Choate Lane to the list of the regulations on parking restrictions. Being there further speakers, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On the supervisor's report, authorization to amend Section 20615, no parking, trucks and trailers. Article 3, parking, standing and stopping to include Choate Lane. It's the same thing, we're just approving it by resolution.
I'll move.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is call for a public hearing to amend Chapter 14, Boards and Councils, Article 1, at Advisory Board on Architecture and Community Appearance. Want to set a time for that?
June 16th?
June 9th?
Nine, yeah.
June 9th.
The public hearing.
I'll move for approval on June 9th.
Motion by Mark.
I'll second that, please.
Tom?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Supervisor, just so the public knows, this will add another layer proposed of review, that if the Architectural Review Board recommends something, it has to be followed unless the planning board changes it. And then if it's not a planning board application, any changes would need to come to your board. So that's the proposal,
Right,
to just amend the code, just so anyone's aware.
thank you.
You got it.
Next item, purchase order 830-2611, ultraviolet lamps for the Commerce Street Pump Station. This is for the ultraviolet UV plant down on Commerce Street. The lamps have to be replaced periodically. Let's see what we have. And they are very expensive. The lamps are used for UV disinfection in the Commerce Street Pump Station in the Kensico Water District, and be purchased from Denora Water Technologies. Denora is the sole proprietor of these lamps for the UV system. Total cost is $12,075.
Make the motion for approval, please.
Motion by Tom,
Second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next one is authorization to ratify and authorize signature of memorandum of understanding setting the terms of the successor agreement between the town and the Teamsters 456 Collective Bargaining Unit. Authorization is sought to ratify and authorize signature for a memorandum of understanding setting the terms of the successor agreement between the town and the Teamsters Collective Bargaining Unit.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Mark, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And this, just a side note, this was in, the percentages were, it's within our budget that we allocated for.
Yeah. They were very understanding. Two of the contracts that we settled so far were, the membership was very understanding. Next item is authorization to accept stormwater maintenance and access agreement between the town of Mount Pleasant and RMD 1416 Skyline LLC. What this is an agreement that they have to maintain the stormwater agreement with the town of Mount Pleasant and 1416 Skyline LLC.
I make a motion.
Motion by
Move to
Joe,
approve.
I'll second.
second by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to publish request for proposal for 15 West Stevens Avenue for commercial parking. There's a small parcel of land off of West Stevens, which is next to the Gate of Heaven Cemetery entrance. It's town property that's not being used, and we are looking to see if it's worth, somebody may want to rent it for maybe parking a couple of trucks or something there, containers. That's about, it's not going to be for dumping any materials there, strictly for parking of equipment. So resolution 19926 will authorize us to publish the request for proposal.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
By Mark. Joe?
Second.
Second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
When do we decide how long that stays open for, that RFP? Is that,
It'll be in the RFP. We have a time for response.
yeah, I'm saying that, do we decide what the time is?
I think it's in the draft.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think.
I'll look at it again, maybe. We should give it like a,
60 days,
yeah, at least.
45
right?
days.
No, I think 60s. The longer, probably the better. Right? I mean,
Guess it depends on the response, right?
yeah,
Yeah, we'll do a date though for responses
yeah.
and see what happens. But yeah, if you give a longer lead time, maybe.
Might
And
have more.
how long is the contract?
We don't know. We didn't propose anything yet, a time. I think you should keep it on a short term. If you get bids that are good for you, we have to enter into an agreement with the potential bidder. And see if it's, I would make it short and see how it works.
But just so the public knows, this is also a revenue source that is going to come into the town that not existing now, that goes into the budget.
Right.
So it's just a smart way to bring in more capital in.
Yeah, for sure.
Great.
We have a number of requests for street closing permits. First one, Karen Tortora, request to close Armand Place at the intersection of Bradhurst Avenue on Saturday, July 11th, from 12 to 10 p.m. The rain date is Sunday, July 12th, at the same time. Joseph Salentano, authorization request to close Sherman Avenue from Wyoming Place to Sheridan Place on Sunday, July 12th, from 1 p.m. until midnight. No rain date is requested. Megan Blanchard, authorization request to close Myrtle Avenue from Main Street to Bradford Street on Saturday, August 22nd, from 10 to 9 p.m. No rain date is requested. Charlene Ruggiero, authorization requested to close Pamela Lane from 10 Pamela Lane to 30 Pamela Lane on Saturday, September 5th, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Rain date is Sunday, September 6th, at the same time. And Michelle Walsh, authorization request to close Warren Avenue from 153 Warren Avenue to Prince Street and at the intersection of Gold Street and Cliff Street on Saturday, October 3rd, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. A rain date of Sunday, October 4th, at the same time as requested.
Move to approve.
Motion by Joe,
Second?
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have the receiver of taxes report. At this time, we have business from the floor. Anyone wish to address the board is welcome to do so at this time.
First, I'd like to say congratulations to both of you. And I'm sorry for this next part, because not always at the meetings there's always good news, but I think you've got a great accomplishment, so congratulations. Deborah Gargiulo, Chappaqua Road. Good evening, Supervisor Fregenzi and town board members. Can you hear me okay? Tonight is the 5th time I'm standing in front of this board since March 24th asking questions about Claybird Lane. Questions about fire safety, environmental contamination, public health, oversight, permits, testing, and accountability. And after months of meetings, FOIL requests, DEC complaints, fires, contamination findings, and repeated public concerns, we still do not have answers. What we do have are documents. We have town documents, DEC documents, inspection reports, fire records, and emails. And those documents show one thing very clearly. The town knew far more than it admitted publicly. Before I continue, I think I need to remind everyone what communication and transparency actually means. Communication means informing the residents before it becomes a crisis. Transparency means residents should not need DEC records, fire records, FOIL appeals, and months of unanswered emails to understand what's happening in their own neighborhood. Because what this town has provided was not transparency, it was delay, deflection, contradictions, incomplete disclosures, and reactive communication only after residents forced the issues publicly. New York DEC did not simply visit the site. DEC notices of violation. Not recommendations, not suggestions, violations. DEC determined this facility was operating without authorization, and the town was copied on those violations. So please stop acting like this is some innocent mulch pile that suddenly became a problem overnight. You knew. DEC warned you, residents warned you, fires warned you, conditions warned you, and this operation still continued. The documents show imported material was brought in from outside the town. The documents show soil and mulch were being mixed to create topsoil. The documents show DEC told the town that topsoil manufacturing at Claybird Lane would require a regulated facility. The documents also show ongoing concerns regarding fire risk, smoldering, material handling, and environmental conditions. And here's what's deeply troubling. Many of these details were omitted, incomplete, or only discovered through DEC records, not through the town's own file production. The DEC records disclosed violations, lack of authorization, fire concerns, environmental concerns, untested piles, chain of custody concerns. Residents should not need to learn more from the DEC than their own town government. And at some point, this town board needs to stop being defensive. It does not serve you well. Because every time a resident asks legitimate questions about fires, contamination, violation, missing records, or public safety, the response has been too defensive instead of transparency. This is not personal. This is your job. You work for the residents of this town, and the residents should not have to fight this hard for basic answers involving environmental safety in their own neighborhood. So let's talk about the fires, because these were not normal mulch events. In December 8, 24, the fire was a major overnight mutual aid response lasting almost 11 hours. Approximately 18 emergency and fire units responded, including multiple tankers, police, and mutual aid departments. Residents reported flames visible from the Taconic Parkway. The fire was significant enough to receive online public news. Many residents, including myself, experienced smoke inside their homes during this event. And then it happened again on April 8, 2026, twice. A daytime fire response was followed later that night by another mutual aid fire event lasting into the early mornings of April 9th. Approximately 16 emergency fire and command units responded, and 38,000 gallons of water were reported used. Again, residents experienced smoke inside their homes. And even after these major fire events, the smoldering continued. On May 15th, residents again observed emergency vehicles responding to the site. The town publicly described it as smoldering pile they were addressing. The highway department later admitted in writing that the piles generated heat. Piles need to be turned, smoldering could continue, and smoke in the air was an obvious concern. So here's the question. If the town took over the site on March 23rd, and if the town knew these piles were combustible, why were these piles not properly maintained? Why are volunteer firefighters and neighboring homes repeatedly being put at risk? Because repeated fires and smoldering events are not normal in a residential neighborhood, and neither is the matter of contamination. The Laurel Environmental Report did segregate soil stockpiles from the berm, and it did determine the soil stockpiles were suitable for proposed use, although I'm slightly confused about that finding considering I have photographs of C&D material in that soil. However, it did indicate that the berm detected elevated concentrations of contaminants, most specifically lead, and C&D fill material containing brick, concrete, gravel, asphalt, mulch, and redevelopment type debris. Laurel also admitted portions of the berm were inaccessible because stockpile material had been placed on top of it, meaning the full extent of contamination has not even been determined yet. And despite that incomplete characterization, the berm contains lead concentrations reaching to approximately 854 parts per million. For context, the New York State DEC Part 375 unrestricted residential standard is 63 parts per million. That means lead concentration identified was approximately 1,350% above unrestricted standards. Even under the less protective Part 360 threshold of 400 parts per million, the berm exceeded that level by 213%. Laurel's report states that the New York State DEC indicated the berm and associated materials should be handled as regulated waste and disposed of in a licensed disposal facility. Residents deserve answers. How did the material get there? Who approved it? How much of it exists? What else was never tested? Was a partially accessible berm containing elevated lead and C&D debris disturbed before full extent of characterization? And now I have another serious question. If approximately 38,000 gallons of water were used during the April fire response, where did that water go? Because the berm has no visible liner, containment, or protection system. So did contaminated runoff enter the ground? Did it migrate towards the vernal pool? Did it enter streams and wetlands and neighboring waterways? Has anyone evaluated whether contaminated lead runoff migrated into surrounding environmental areas after tens of thousands of gallons of water moved through this contaminated material? Because residents were not informed. We've only been informed that the contractor would remove the equipment. Now we've observed continued disturbance and tarping of the berm. So what experts are involved in this cleanup? What has been moved? What has been disturbed? Who authorized it? And what protections exist for airborne lead particles? Who is monitoring the runoff? Where is the remediation plan that was publicly promised over a month ago? Because on April 14th, this board publicly stated there would be full cleanup and a plan would be shared with the community. Where is it? What will be removed? What's going to remain on site? What was never tested? What was mixed together? And where exactly do these materials originate from? Because your own records discuss outside fill, topsoil manufacturing, materials being sold, and materials going back to the community. So I'm asking, how did the lead of 854 parts per million end up in a berm adjacent to residential properties? This is about trust, and right now there's none. I'm sorry, but you work for us. You do not get to stand on pomp and circumstances while residents live next to fires, contamination concerns, industrial activity, and unanswered environmental questions in a residential neighborhood. You owe this community answers. You owe this community transparency, and you owe this community a real plan. Not talking points, not delays or excuses, a real plan. This is our neighborhood, these are our homes, and these are our families. This should have never allowed to happen.
I received the report from David Smith, the town engineer, this afternoon. That will be forwarded and it will be posted, so you have all the information that you're asking for. If there's any further questions you have after that report, you're welcome to submit those. At no time did this town board or can I finish? At no time did myself or this town board ever believe they were putting anybody's life in danger. Never. We would never do that. This is a very difficult situation. It's not simple to solve. We're working with the DEC, working with a contractor who basically did the wrong thing. I don't want to use any language that I shouldn't use. He didn't do the right thing for this town. He took advantage of the situation. He brought materials in that we were unaware of, and now we have to work with them to try to get the materials out there, or it's going to cost the town a tremendous amount of money. Trying to avoid litigation, that's not something we need at this point. It's our last resort that we may have to do, but the process is slow. We guarantee that it's going to happen. We don't want this anymore. We know it's troubling to you. It's also troubling to us. We want answers fast. We're not getting answers quickly from anybody, the contractor or DEC. We did all the tests that we're supposed to do. I know the water was tested. I think we got results this afternoon. No problem with that. But I will submit those answers that David Smith put together, and you'll have those. Do you have a question? You're welcome to come up.
Was the water report shared, or is that going to be shared? I
will
want to
be.
make the distinction.
We received word, we didn't get paperwork on it. We wanted the full paperwork on it.
Okay, so it's to be shared.
To be shared, yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you for keeping this board informed regarding Claybird Lane. And I'm sorry and frustrated that it's taking so long to execute an action plan here. I'm hopeful now that we got most of this testing back, that with the help of the DEC and the testing, that we will actually be able to see some progress here shortly. I mean, it's been a shame that it's been taking this long, and I don't have an answer for that.
Can we please have a real plan? Not just conversation, like a plan over the steps that are going to be taken for this site. And then maybe you don't have to hear from all of us.
We don't have a plan yet. That's what we're working on. You don't just come up with these things and say, let's get rid of stuff. It doesn't work that way. First of all, the materials are different classifications. Some can go as a roadbed. Some can be used for landscaping. Some of it has to be brought to a special location.
I
And
have the
let me,
report.
let me just complete my point. We have asked the DEC to come up with a plan to help us. They are the authority on this. They could say to the contractor, we want this material removed and brought to this site. We want that material brought to another site. They can control that. We can't. We're not the authority to do that. They can. We want them to work with us and for us to help us get this plan together. We cannot create a plan. We are not the regulatory authority.
I hope they're giving you active oversight and not just guidance, because active oversight is what the town needs right now.
Isn't the
Exactly what you're
DEC
saying.
oversight?
There's a difference between guidance, speaking to you on the phone and telling you what to move, and actually,
No,
an
it's got to be a
actual.
written plan.
No, I understand that part. What I'm saying is, they need to give you active oversight, not just guidance. I don't know how else best to explain that. But if that's what they're doing, then that would be great, because yes, they would be the authority in this, and then that would make us very happy.
It will make us happy too.
Right. Okay.
So what I'm hearing,
I'm sorry, can you just state your name and
my
address?
my name is Cindy Casuto. So what I'm hearing is a lot of back and forth and plans. What I would like you guys to do tonight, and I hope you can, just put a timeline to it, because I heard 6 weeks to get you know, you're waiting for reports, you're waiting for, and now you're gonna be oversight. Can you do a timeline? Who's gonna follow up with who so that some action will be taken? Because this is really frustrating, listening to this. So
We understand that, and it is
could you decide
frustrating.
that tonight while you're here? A timeline of who is gonna be following up from
I don't want to tell you 2 weeks, and then I'm still waiting for DEC to come back
telling
and
us
say
something
something.
is better than nothing.
Carl, maybe we had a 2.5+ hour call on Friday with DEC. We have been in contact with the contractor today. DEC is ready to come back and talk to us once there's a plan. I expect a plan from them by the end of the week, hopefully. Then we'll talk to DEC about it, and things are in motion. Then there'll have to be an agreement and the necessary insurances and et cetera. But there is a plan in motion. I will say that between myself, many board members, the town supervisor, the engineer, and the head of highways, there's been probably 40 hours spent last week on this alone, at least. I'm telling you. So the board is on top of it. We're working on a plan to get rid of it. There are a few complications. The water came back, my understanding from the county clean, from the county health department, no issues. The soil that came in is generally not an issue from a commercial site, which this is. The berm had slightly elevated levels of lead related to a commercial site. It was okay. Residential, it's not. We talked to DEC. They wanted the tarp on there as a issue that they proposed. There's also, I believe, some silt fencing there. I haven't been up there to check, but that's something that they wanted to, which we're going to put in. They said that's fine too. We proposed it. Actually, Dave Smith proposed it. So there is active. These 5 members of the board and the staff are actively, daily working on this every day. I mean, we're hoping to get a conclusion and get this material out as soon as possible. That's the plan. Can we tell you June 1st, June 2nd, June 3rd? We can't. We don't want to tell you something we can't meet. We have a target of yesterday. The target's passed. We're trying to get there.
Hi, Bevan Murphy, Chappaqua Road. So that was, you just said that the amounts of lead are acceptable for a commercial site.
I'm not an
correct?
expert in this, but that's my understanding of what Laurel said.
Yeah, I think
I'm
I
reading
read
their
that as well.
report, so
I think I
don't
read
quote
that as
me
well.
on anything about levels. Just trying to explain what
Right,
Laurel said.
but it's not a commercial road, and we were told in several emails that it was not a commercial site, that you were just allowing them from a handshake deal to do a favor for the town. And if they're operating a commercial facility on a residential road that is not cut out, do you see where this is?
There's 2 issues I think you're conflating. The road is owned by the town of Mount Pleasant. The small area where it intersects with Chappaqua Road is a public road, but this is a part of town property. Whether something is a commercial road or not, that facility's been operating for 20 plus, maybe longer years there. The issue came up in August when Ms. Gargulo mentioned some issues about trucks going up there, and then we didn't hear from her again until we didn't hear from her in September, when apparently a lot of trucks went up there. But be that as it may, the road issue is one thing. The site has been operating at not this level of intensity for 2 decades or more.
Mm-hmm.
So now they brought in fill that we did not know about because you're not there watching it every day. Now we know it's there. We're trying to get it out there. In August, it did come up when Mark was out there, and you were out there, and Deborah sent the email.
Sir, I'm there every day because I live there. We brought this up over a year ago because this facility was encroaching on our property, at which point we were told that it's not a commercial facility. Or no, actually we were told that they were renting it from the town, but they weren't renting anything. They weren't paying any rent. They were just operating an illegal facility that's putting contaminated lead, soil into my water.
The water, there's 2 issues.
There's
surface
so
water-
many more
the
than 2
surface water-
issues.
The surface water is one issue, right? I understand from the county health department, you know Dave Smith was down there with you. He did litmus test there. It was not an issue. County, they took samples and gave it to county health, not an issue. So the water, surface water is not contaminated, from what I understand. I haven't seen the report yet.
Surface water
That's
is
issue
different
number
than groundwater, which is what we have because
Number 2 is
we're
you have
operating on a well.
Well water. Well water is a totally different story.
Uh-huh.
I think you bought your house 2 years ago, you said?
About 3.
3, I'm sure there was a test done then before you bought the house on the well water to see if it was contaminated. Probably your title insurance company would have required it. I don't know what that testing showed. I'm not aware of that you produced any tests or anyone has that any well water, which could be 500 to 1,000 feet deep, has any contamination. There's no evidence that we've seen. If you have information that shows it, let's see what it, we'd be glad to see it, but I'm not aware of it. I don't think the town has seen it.
I think a lot of our frustration is coming from this combativeness.
Then
Well, wait,
I'll
hold on,
try
I'm still
not to
speaking,
answer
I'm
your
still
question.
speaking. What I'm,
I'll try not to answer. Yeah. I'm
well,
trying to be nice.
or you could be on our side.
The town is,
Why are you fighting us?
I don't think we're fighting this, but we're trying to
you
make
are.
sure that, we're not fighting you. We're trying to get facts out. We understand you're concerned about that site. I think the town board is aware of that. I think the whole staff's aware of it. That's why we're spending 40 hours a week trying to figure out a plan to get the material out of there.
But
That's, and that's what
why
we're
was it
doing.
ignored for so many years that it was allowed to happen in the first place?
I think the extensive fill that is up there was, there's no permit required for, my understanding, of 10,000 cubic yards or less up there from DC. DC has said that. The town has brought fill up there, has brought materials up there. It's not combative, it's just a fact for years. I mean, you look on the Westchester GIS site, you can see the material. It's there. But I don't want to get it back and forth. I'm not looking to argue. I'm trying to get the facts out to the public so they're aware of it, and we want to get the material out. What environmental report is that?
This is Laurel's.
I've seen it, I've read it. I mean, that's,
I'm sorry I keep coming back here, but you're kind of making it so easy. Notice of violation, February 18, 2025. Superintendent Richard Banquet, Claiborne Lane Facility. On December 10th, fire department staff performed an inspection at the above facility. Goes on and on. Happy to give it back to you, even though you did receive it. At the time of inspection, a facility was operating a yard trimming compost facility on the town of Mount Pleasant property that did not meet any acceptable exemptions. The facility or town of Mount Pleasant currently do not have any authorization with the department to operate a yard trimming or compost facility, DEC. Second, notice of violation to Nicholas Amodio, also after the fire, which states several different parts. The first part is exactly what I just mentioned that the town got. The second part states, at the time of inspection, the facility was operating, okay, that's the same one. But it mentions two different parts. New York City RR Part 360.9 and .9A and .9B. You get the point. It's been already, and there's more violations that were just recently given. I might not have them yet, but I'll have them soon. You're not authorized to do this.
Just back in 2013 or 14, I forget the exact time, that Amodio was brought in, we were paying a contractor between $50,000 and $75,000 a week to remove materials that we were bringing there. We're talking about trees that are cut down in town, not residential waste. It was more trees and stuff along the right-of-way and stuff like that. At one point, there was over 1,000 trees that were brought there within a year's period of time. The town could not process that material at all. The equipment, the tub grinder is almost $1 million, plus loaders and everything else. You probably need about $3 million worth of equipment plus staffing on a weekly basis to do this kind of work. We thought it made sense at the time. This seemed to be a reputable contractor. It didn't work. It saved the town a lot of money. I'll give you that, but it could cost us some money now, and this is what we're trying to resolve. We want to do it right. We do care about the residents as much as you may think otherwise, but we do, and we will resolve this. We just need a little more time to do it. Yes.
Good evening. I'm Patty Rallis. I live on Old Chappaqua Road, which no longer exists according to GPS, but it is. And I wanted to thank you all for letting me speak this evening. My concerns regarding the ongoing events at Claiborne Lane site have been going on for quite some time. I've been a resident since 1999, and during that time I've called the Barcliff Manor Fire Department over a dozen times regarding smoke, fire, and smoke and fire at the mulch site. I've also called the town supervisor, the highway manager, numerous times, and they've come to my home regarding safety. Where I am located, for some reason, I'm the one who gets the smoke. I get it before anybody on Claybird gets it. I don't know why. I guess I just sit up just that high. So I have had numerous times the fire department come with the lasers to see where that smoke is coming from. Is it in my yard? They tell me constantly, just keep calling, keep calling. I feel terrible. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm calling the fire department. Who wants to do that? Anyway, they also, when they came, they told me that I should have no concern that that fire from the mulch would then go onto the trees and keep going and hit my house. They guaranteed me that. I don't know how you can guarantee that. They said that it's far enough away from the property lines that it should never spread.
Don't worry, it'll hit mine.
Now, granted, over the last 5 years, there have been fewer fires and phone calls to the Briarcliff Fire Department. However, there's been a serious increase in noise pollution and road erosion. First of all, I called because they were working on Saturdays. They were not supposed to be there on a Saturday, and they were. Also, they cut down the trees. They've expanded that area. They cut down the trees, so now you can see that site from the Taconic. Before they came in, you could not see the site from the Taconic. I can now hear the Taconic. I never heard the Taconic before. It's very upsetting. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's so much wildlife in that area, and it is just dissipating very quickly. I also want to give another example that there's been a 100% increase in truck traffic and noise on our deer path of a road. I'm sure you've all driven on Old Chappaqua Road. It's wide enough for maybe 1.5 cars and 2 cars if you go in your neighbor's driveway. There's no reason that a 18-wheeler should be on that road. Obviously, I know they're not there anymore, but they've done a lot of damage to that road. I know that at the end where Chappaqua Road ends up being in Briarcliff and is out of the town of Mount Pleasant, right by the bike path, that whole area there, they've had water damage, been working on it for years. Since those trucks are not on that road now, the dents and the potholes have diminished by, I would say, 70%. That's how much road work, noise. I mean, those trucks used to come out of that turn, horns blaring, around the corner, or go up, horns blaring. No one wants that. The other thing that I'm concerned about tonight is, does anybody know what's going to happen to Edith Macy and that property now that it's up for sale? That road cannot handle many more cars than it already has. And the environment there, that is such an incredible piece of property. When I bought my house, I was told, obviously it was wrong, and I'm really upset about it, that if Girl Scouts couldn't maintain that property, it was going to be given to the town of Mount Pleasant as open space. Now, that's not happening. But I want to find a way that we can preserve at least 50, if not more, % of that property as open space. There's so much advantage of having it there for our community. And there's so many vernal pools, wetlands, there's streams that come down from there that go between my house and another house. It's just an amazing piece of property, and I would be devastated if it ended up being condos or multifamily homes. If there's any way that we can do something to protect that area. I don't know if anybody has heard anything.
It's not, I drove through there with the chief about a week and a half ago, and we were both talking, this would be amazing to maintain as a park.
Yeah.
How that's done, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's not something the town could just buy.
Right.
It's a tremendous piece of property.
Yeah.
But to be able to preserve that would be ideal.
Yeah, I don't know if by reaching out to the Girl Scouts, if they need the money or they just want to get rid of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that it's cost them over $1 million a year that they lose easily. But I didn't know if the town knew of anything that we can do to help save that property.
We haven't been approached on that.
Okay.
On any proposal or anything, the future of the property yet.
Okay. It just, my kids have been able to grow up with foxes in their yards, deer, all sorts of wildlife. We have a pond in our front yard. We have 3 different types of herons. We've had osprey land in our pond. I don't want to lose all that. That's why we moved there. It's just a beautiful area. It's the little gem that's hidden that most people don't know, except those who go up Claybird.
I agree.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to address the board?
Can't do this QR code to go out, so
Oh,
tried it last time.
okay.
But I said, look, I'm throwing my phone, but I think that was it. I'm not here to talk about process tonight. I just, I can feel all this frustration, obviously, with the residents of that area and you guys. But I will say that you've got all these separate issues, right? There's finger pointing, who's going to take responsibility for the actual cleanup. I think what Deborah was saying is that, and I feel this way just listening to it, is it has to be done, Carl, properly. And what I thought I heard her say was, you may be getting guidelines from the DEC, but I think you may have to take responsibility to town for actually making sure it's done properly. And it doesn't sound like the operator, forget their name, Emodios or something, they shouldn't be in charge of moving anything. If they're the ones truly responsible for the contamination, I wouldn't ask them to move anything. You could ask them to pay, perhaps, but I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them based on what I'm hearing from you, that they're responsible. I don't know if that's totally true, if there's background that indicates that there's not, but I'm sure Darius and you guys will read that evidence about where it may have gone wrong. But one, you guys are going to dissect where it went wrong. That shouldn't get in the way of probably the immediate problem of cleaning up a contaminated site. And I'm really concerned because this could happen anywhere, I mean, this is probably your most important job, is protecting the health and welfare of the residents. I can't think of a bigger, I read the oaths, I went through that trouble just to see, is that really the primary responsibility? And of course it is. So I think what I'm hearing is that please share a plan. I mean, everything that you said tonight, I don't think we've heard before, which would be great. People just want to know, be informed. And it doesn't matter if a date's missed, that happens in business all the time. Why? And then is there anything that the residents can do, anybody else could do to rattle the DEC's cage? I'm sure they're busy, busy, busy. So it's better to share and communicate than not. And I think tonight it's been a little better. Temperatures could go down a little bit, about why we have this site, why it was so great then. That's not really the problem now. The problem is the residents are in danger, And again, it could happen to any of us. I live across from the preserve. This whole thing has been like, oh my God, what's going to happen when that goes up in flames? And I want to know that the town's going to be there. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Don't be afraid to communicate, It really, really takes the temperature down and makes us see that there are, is action being taken. And, hope's not a plan. Joe, I know you know that, but, communication is a plan, and it's very important, particularly when there's a crisis. It can only reflect poorly back on the town board, and unnecessary, so unnecessary. One other question with all these fires. Who pays for all the volunteers? I guess they're volunteers, but who pays? Do they ever come back and ask for money for having gone over a place many times?
there's fire protection districts. They're paid through taxes to operate the fire districts.
But it sounds like it's being really, a lot of pressure to keep going back up there. So I just was curious how
Sure
that
is.
is going to affect the bottom line.
Sure.
So, anyway, thank you for communicating more. I really think it's a big deal, and you should do more of it, honestly.
I'm all for sharing information. I just want to make sure the information is the right information and it's accurate. That's all.
I completely understand, but sometimes you can just say that. We've gotten this report, we haven't gotten this report,
I think we've been,
take a crack
There's
at
two
what it
reports.
is.
we've been trying,
There's two reports, one from Laurel, who the town hired,
I got it.
and then the second report is the
And
county.
there's, things are happening, I get that, but I think if you take the communication course 101, communication, err on the side of more rather than less, really. It's so important. You see Tylenol getting pulled from the shelves, we're not there, but that's the type of thing, you want to see that people are taking responsibility for it. And you started to do that tonight, so I think it's appreciated. And then start to separate the conversations, because, people are frustrated about not responding over a year ago. That's going to come up again, but compartmentalize it, but deal with the main issue now, keeping people safe, because that is what's really problematic at the moment.
that's a priority.
And don't trust the mulch company to clean it up.
No, not at all. Anyone else wish to address the board?
I have two more questions, just quickly. When you said that the fire departments cover the, they're not paid, but who pays for all that water? Because I know, I'm fortunate in the fact that I'm on a well, but I know my neighbors that live on Carlton, where all this water is coming from, they pay a lot of money for water. Briarcliff water is expensive. So does the town of Mount Pleasant get a bill for that?
In with the fire protection districts, there's like hydrant fees,
Mm-hmm.
and in those fees they estimate the amount of water they may use on a yearly basis. So there's charges they have for the hydrants, which we hope covers the cost of all fires. Fire protection has dropped considerably, thank God, over the years, which is a good thing. But every year, the fire protection district costs increase. We keep adding a percentage to it every year to make sure that the fire district get the funding they need to protect any home or
Right.
anything.
Okay. And you were saying also before that it costs $70,000 a day for you to run the machines up at Claybird. Am I correct in saying that? Was that the right number?
When we were having an independent contractor,
Right.
had to go up there and handle the materials
Turn it over
to
and
get
all
rid
that.
of it.
Right.
It
So,
was between $50,000 and $75,000 for a week's worth of work.
so
It
what?
wasn't every week, could have been 2 weeks a month.
Right.
3 weeks a month. It was a big expense. Having the contractor, when he was legit in the beginning, it was a big cost
Right.
savings to the
Right.
town.
So what do other towns do?
Some of them process their own, some of it just have it trucked out.
So would it make sense for the town to cease using that piece of property for mulch? Would it make more sense, dollars and cents, to,
It may go in that direction. That's
Yeah.
something we have to evaluate. Once we're all cleaned up, then we'll think about what we're gonna do moving forward.
and one other thing I want to put in there, I know I mentioned the trees. Can they please, when the DEC or when there's suggestions made, can we please replant trees up in that area? Because they have expanded that whole section, at least along the Taconic area. And to protect the houses that are on Claybird, if you could plant more trees in that area, that would be really appreciated, since they took them all out.
We'll look into that. Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's easy enough to clean up, but if you don't put in new trees, nothing's gonna help. That'll help clean up. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
This is very, very short.
I just, when we were all going back and forth over emails on the last fire, I asked some very specific questions that never got addressed. So I really would love face-to-face, let's do this. What is being done to prevent the fires from happening in the future?
The highway department is going up there. They've reduced the size of the piles,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been mixing it. Mixing it helps to prevent that from smoldering.
Yes, well aware of that. So I guess what should have been the first question is, why wasn't that being done up until, I guess, last week when we had another fire? Nobody was maintaining it up until then?
The highway department has been doing it for the last few weeks.
Then why did it catch on fire if
They're
it
not
was
there every day.
being maintained?
They're not there every day. The contractor was doing it before.
Okay,
The problem happened, like I said before, is that the piles were too big. That was
Okay.
out of our control. We were not aware this was going on. Now that we're aware of it, we had the smoldering. The highway department has been up there a real lot, turning materials.
okay. But the
This has happened, that site has been used for about 50 years.
Mhm.
This has been going on. The smoldering has happened. It's a normal, unfortunate, it's a normal, like a combustible situation. The center of the piles get hot
Yeah,
and they start to smolder.
But there's ways to mitigate that, like with water and with turning
No,
and
water
things
does
like
not
that.
help that, believe it or not. Actually, water can make it worse. That's why when it was raining, they went up there and they kept turning it also to keep it cooler.
Okay.
I guess the question becomes, should we be there every day?
I mean, I have to be there every day, and it's really scary when there is a fire, and it's so close to my home. The only thing in between those fires and my house is trees and dry leaves, and the response I was getting was very dismissive, and that hurts. Like, I feel like you should be protecting us, and that's not what's been happening. So please, please, we don't want to come here every meeting either. We will stop if this gets taken care of. But we will not stop until this gets taken care
We
of.
want it taken care of, believe me.
Please, thank you so much.
Just for clarification for Bevan, the contractor was kicked out on March 23rd. And Supervisor Fulgenzi, you just said that the highways were just up there the last 2 weeks. March 23rd and the last 2 weeks don't reconcile. The fire was on April 8th. They should have been turning the piles before that fire occurred. And the smoldering event that almost turned into a fire was on May 15th. So again, March 23rd to where we are now shouldn't be just in the last 2 weeks. I just wanted to clarify that.
Actually, Richard was there every single day those weeks too, because it's when they were moving all of the trucks out.
He was babysitting them, but I don't think anybody was turning the piles.
Anyone else wish to address the board? Thank you. Moving on. Move on to our town clerk's report.
Town Clerk's Report, Town Board Meeting, May 26th, 2026. Public hearing to consider amending Town Code Section 206-15, no parking, Article 3, parking, standing, and stopping to include Choate Lane. Received and filed the Board of Assessment Review Training Certificate of Attendance for member Ted Lai. Received and filed Thornwood Fire District oaths of office for the following: Thomas Olson, Chief; Matthew Carroll, Assistant First Chief; and Bart Pannone, Assistant Second Chief. Received and filed 3 planning board resolutions: the Fieldwood Club notice of intent to serve as lead agency; the solar photovoltaic arrays NYC DEP Cat Dell UV plant site plan approval; and 28 Country Club Lane steep slope approval. And received and filed 1 notice of claim from Christine Appleberg.
Item 4, we refer to our town attorney. Council reports. Councilwoman Zeno,
I'll be reading for her this evening, Mr. Supervisor.
thank you.
Sure, let me just get there, Okay, I have Resolution 201-26. This is a purchase order for a plan review for a new senior living facility, Brightview Senior Living. The building permit fee is $1.62 million. Total cost of the plan review is $41,625. I move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
I second.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I have Resolution 202-26. This is a purchase order for plan review as well. Review of a new building at the DEP Eastview site. It's part of a building permit for the DEP tunnel project. The full project construction cost is $711 million for the buildings. This permit fee is included as part of the fees being paid by DEP. The cost of the plan review will be $4,000. With that, I move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
Joe,
Tom.
Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Councilman Bonanno.
I'm here to read from the controller's memo dated 5/26/26. The controller's memo will be available at the controller's office during normal business hours. So I'm just going to read some of the highlights from this week's controller's report. The big one is the voters' rights settlement payment of $425,000 from the legal department. Laurel Environmental, that's to collect the samples from Claiborne Lane, $16,851. And then from the General Highway Department, Peter J. Landy, Elwood Streetscape Improvements, $114,313.32. Again, Peter J. Landis, Elwood Streetscape Improvements, including the sidewalk lighting, another $126,254.82. And that was part of the long-term streetscape project on Elwood Avenue that we approved the PO for in the last week's meeting. Goostown Communications for the police department, simulcast communication system, $74,987.34. The total controller's memo for 5/26, $853,624.66. I move for approval.
Motion by Joe,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Councilman Saraceno.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I have, out of Parks and Recreation, a number of items. I'll begin with purchase order 70-26-37 for the Great Armadillo Printing Company. These are all of our T-shirts for the Youth and Great Adventures and Escape Squad camps, as well as the camp staff shirts. In addition, there are Parks shirts as well for Parks Department, and the total cost is $7,295.22. I move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Joe.
Thumbs.
Tom.
Tom.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next item, I have purchase order 70-26-38 to Harlem Wizards out of Fairfield, New Jersey. They're an entertainment group that does a whole basketball exposition. This is for Camp Great Adventures. Total cost $3,750. Move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
I second. That's Joe.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Purchase order 141-26-01 to ICC Community Development Solutions. This is the Town Clerk's Department requesting authorization to approve payment of the Laserfish support renewal invoice for the period of July 16th, 2026 through July 15th, 2027. And the invoice will be split between the Town Clerk and the Building Department based on the number of users. The total cost for the town is $3,782. Move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 207-26 out of the Town Clerk's office requesting authorization to appoint a seasonal employee Tony Marie Grosso with the title of intermediate clerk for a 4-month maximum. She would be placed in the town clerk's office effective May 19th, 2026. Her rate of pay is on the agenda item, and with that, I move for approval.
Motion by Mark,
Second.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 208-26 out of the Parks Department. Authorization to promote Anthony Martin to Parks Groundskeeper, a Parks Groundskeeper to the title of Assistant Parks Foreman effective May 27, 2026. His salary will increase from a Group 5, Step 5 to a Group 3, Step 3 within the CSEA Blue Collar Collective Bargaining Agreement. And this would be, from what I understand, a very well-deserved promotion, and it will also create an opportunity for an employee to take Mr. Martin's spot as a Parks Groundskeeper. With that, I move for approval.
A second, please.
Motion by Mark,
Second by Tom.
second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
And
carries.
congrats to Mr. Martin. It's always nice to see promoting from within. My last item is out of the Recreation Department. This is authorization to appoint Lori Rogers Smalley to the Recreation Advisory Committee effective June 1st, 2026. It's a 4-year term, a volunteer term. As an advisory committee, the Recreation Advisory Committee meets once a month and goes over recreation and parks-related items with the department, and myself as the liaison. And Ms. Smalley has shown a passion for the Parks and Rec Department throughout her tenure as an employee of the town and beyond. So with that, I move for approval.
I will gladly second.
Motion by Mark, second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, that's all I have tonight.
Tom, I don't think you have anything.
This supervisor, there's no report from PD. I will say have an excellent evening, and thanks to the residents that came out to communicate with us and give us some feedback. Have a very good evening. Thank you very much.
I think it was suggested that we go into executive session. I need a motion and a motion to go into executive session at 8:08.
So moved.
And I'll
Motion by
second it.
Mark.
For potential contract issues.
Yes. Second by,
I'll second it. It's for contract issues, executive session.
just for the public to know, there'll be no further business. After that, we'll come back just to close the meeting.